Welcome back. Time for another build. I gotta scoot back here so we can get this one in. The mega-sized RX-78-2. And I will admit, this is 100% curiosity. So we'll do our usual on this one. If I can fit it on my bench, we'll unbox it, time-lapse, show off the built model, and then I'll come back around and talk about it. So let's see if I can fit this on here. Okay, let's see if we can get into this thing. It is just a huge kit here. Okay, very small number of stickers. Man, look at the size of the shield. That gives you an idea how big this thing's gonna be, huh? I mean, it's definitely all the colors and parts that you're used to seeing. That's a foot. This is so big. Let's see what we got here for instructions real quick. What have we got? Oh, what is this? Huh. This is cool. It's like panel lining and painting, clear coating. Oh, that's pretty interesting. That's very cool. And then our actual instructions here. Oh, kind of high grade style here. We'll just fold out pamphlet. Okay, well, this will be fun. So it's time to start building. So this is normally where I would have the turntable and the Gundam spinning around. You can see it from all angles. Honestly, this guy is just too big. He really is. I just can't fit him in there because he is gigantic. And for scale, this is a high grade, right? Didn't even come up to his knee. So big guy, very big. Parts wise though, less than a high grade. So from an assembly standpoint, he doesn't take very long. Not a whole lot of parts, so, but at the same time you can kind of imagine, right? It's like less parts than a high grade, but like 6 or 7 times bigger. You just don't have details here. There are a little bit, but not much. Not a lot of details, not a lot of gimmicks. Actually, no gimmicks, right? There's nothing that pops open, no hatches, nothing like that. But I think it kind of works for it, but we'll talk about that. The instructions are quite a bit different. For one thing, they are full color, like front to back, all the way through full color. The other thing that's kind of interesting is they're kind of verbose, which is not a word used with Gundam instructions very often. But they have a lot of description starting at the beginning. And then as you kind of work through, the descriptive text kind of tapers off and you kind of end up with what you normally do with Gundam instructions, right? Where you're really just working off the pictures. But I think it's cool, like if you're a first-time builder, you've got some nice descriptions as you're starting to kind of give you an idea of what you're doing. So that's cool. It came with a second book, if you watch the unboxing, that I was completely confused with, right? And I hadn't seen one like this before, but once I got to looking at it, I realized that this is Gundam Building 101, really, right? It's like how to use nippers, how to use a razor knife, you know, how to do wet slide decals. Back in the back, right, we've got panel lining, clear coating. There's a little bit here on weathering. And then they have pictures of professional modelers who have done this model in different ways, right? So you can see different things. And I think it's cool because I think it really drives home that this is like halfway done, if you want it to be, right? And this has some ideas and some information on how to go from here into more, you know, lining and painting and how do you make this thing really yours. This has a lot of information. So I like that about the kit. The building of the kit is interesting because it comes with this. And it tells you in the directions that they used a wedge gate. And so you just put this in between the part at the gate, snap the gate off. Or the instructions tell you can just grab the part and tear it out of the runner. So I know if you're a regular Gundam builder, the thought of like reaching and grabbing a part and just ripping it out of a runner just like makes you twitch, right? But it works for this. And I think it has a couple of interesting side effects. If you're a first-time builder, you don't have to buy anything, right? You don't need nippers, you don't know how to use them, you don't need a razor knife, you don't know how to use it. You just buy the kit, open it up, and build it. I think the other way it works is like if you're building this with your kid, now you don't have any sharp things laying around, right? You don't have razor blades and sharp nippers and those kind of things. You can build it and you don't have to worry about it. So I think it works. It's just a little interesting to begin with. The decals in it are wet slides, which initially I thought was kind of an odd choice. I was like, this is really, to me, targeted at like beginners and stuff. And the stickers seem like they'd make more sense, right? I mean, anybody can slap a sticker on. But then, you know, as I was reading through this book, they have a nice section on, you know, how to do wet slides. And it even tells you here in the bottom, you're gonna mess it up. Don't worry about it. You're gonna make a mistake here, it's fine. It tells you, you know, you can go buy more decals. And so once I kind of saw that and thought about it, I'm like, okay, it makes sense, right? This is exposure to wet slides because, as I was thinking, they are more difficult than regular sticker style. So after that, I was like, okay, that works, I get it. And the wet slides are on a really big sheet. Like you can use scissors to cut them out, which is not something I've ever been able to do on a wet slide kit before, right? Usually it's like, there's like 5,000 decals on the sheet and you're in there with a razor blade and, you know, craziness. But these, the sheet's big enough, the decals are big enough, you can just get there with some scissors. Works great. The articulation on him is kind of an interesting ratcheting. You can kind of see. So the rubber parts are ridged. The plastic parts that go in there have splines, and so it makes kind of a ratcheting kind of action, which I think works, right? It's like it makes it where he moves easily, but he'll stay where you put him. And you know, I was thinking to like the kids kind of thing, right? It's like I have definitely built Gundams that these movements are so tight, you know, that the amount you got to grip it and really move it. And there's no way in the world I would hand this to like a 10-year-old and be like, here, pose this, right? Because they would just destroy the thing. This one, he moves easy. You know, the parts move fine. It stays where you want it. So I think it works. You know, it kind of works for that audience. And of course, the question always is, you know, would I recommend it? And yes, I would. If you're like me, I think this was the only size of the 78 I didn't have in my collection. So I was curious, but at the same time, I was like, hey, you know, this will round it out. I'll have everything. So, you know, if you're like me and curious, go for it. If you're a brand new builder, never really built anything, right? I mean, like zero modeling experience with plastics, grab it, right? You don't need anything else. You just open the box and build it. It's great. If you have kids that like to build things, grab one. You know, flop down the floor on a Saturday afternoon, have some fun. I think it took me an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, tops. Maybe another 30 minutes or so for the decals, because these are true bandai decals. I mean, they're like a minute and a half soak before these things even want to think about moving. So the decals can take a bit just because of that. But the build itself is not all that long. I think the only thing that gives me pause is the price. I mean, I paid 85 bucks or so for this one, and I've seen Mega Size Unicorn and some others that are up $100, $110. And so that's the only part where I'm kind of like, man, you know, it's hard. If you're new to building Gundams, then it's kind of hard to be like, well, here's a $20 high grade and here's an $80 Mega Size. Which should I do? You know, it's like, man, that's a tough sell. But, you know, as long as the price doesn't bother you, then go for it, 100%. You'll love it. It's fun. I think it's an interesting, like, kind of a blank slate. He's got a lot of big lines. The parts are big, so if you're gonna paint or panel line, you're not having to deal with all these little itty bitty pieces and stuff. So I think it makes for the potential from here going forward is there for sure. So keep the suggestions coming. I've had a few people recommend other Gundams, things I hadn't seen before, and that's fun. I've went out and bought some models based on them. I think the next one I'm going to build was probably a viewer suggestion. So I'm enjoying that part for sure. And thanks for watching.